Discernment. How to trust your inner experience without getting lost in it. Hello, I'm Allison Batty Capps of Blossoming Heart Wellness. This is a trauma-informed exploration of spirituality, psychology, and neuroscience, and it's designed to help you how to understand spiritual messages that you're receiving. Maybe you are getting psychic imprints, or you're connecting with your spirit guides, or maybe you're communicating with your parts, but you're having difficulty understanding the visions or the messages that you're receiving. One of the most important skills that we can develop as human beings is discernment. Not certainty, not blind faith, not rejection of inner or outer experiences, but discernment. The ability to stay connected to our inner and outer world without being overwhelmed by it, controlled by it, lost in it, or without feeling like we have to be dogmatic as absolute truth or certainty. So what does discernment mean? Well, discernment is the capacity to pause and ask questions such as, what is happening inside me right now? Is this a feeling, a memory, a symbolic image, or a literal truth? Does this experience or belief support mine and others' agency, or does it diminish it? Does it increase compassion, clarity, and connection, or does it increase pressure, fear, harm, and rigidity? Discernment is not about shutting down inner or outer experiences. It's about relating to them with wisdom. So why does this matter? Well, human beings are meaning-making systems. Our mind naturally generates images, narratives, interpretations, spiritual meaning, predictions about the future, stories about who we are and what we are here for, stories about who other people are and what they are here for. This is normal. This is not a problem. But without discernment, we can accidentally treat inner or outer experiences as absolute instructions or objective reality. And that can create overwhelm, spiritual pressure, shame, hierarchy, harmful behaviors, or a sense that we are responsible for things that are far beyond our control. From a neuroscience perspective, the brain is constantly predicting and organizing experiences. The nervous system is not just perceiving reality, it is trying to make sense of uncertainty. It is protecting us from threat. It is integrating memory, emotion, and imagination. It is generating stories that help create a sense of coherence. When we are activated emotionally or spiritually, the brain can produce very vivid narratives that feel deeply real. This does not make them wrong. It does not make them absolute truth. It means that they are meaningful internal events. They are not necessarily external realities. It is important to know that the brain is actually wired for mystical experiences, and neuroscience cannot yet prove if we are perceiving these experiences or if our brain is what is creating these experiences. From a trauma-informed perspective, inner imagery can also be the language of protective parts. Sometimes external beliefs that you see in the world are the result of protective parts. Some parts communicate through symbols, dramatic imagery, future scenarios, extremes such as savior versus destroyer, safety versus danger. Not because they are trying to mislead us, but because they are trying to get our attention. Often beneath the imagery is something much simpler: a need for safety, a need for belonging, a fear of harm, a desire to do good in the world, a longing for purpose. Many spiritual traditions describe inner experience as meaningful, but not always as literal. They often distinguish between truth as lived experience and truth as prediction or instruction. In contemplative traditions, discernment is sometimes described as the ability to hold lightly what arises, to let meaning be present without turning it into coercion. So what does discernment look like in practice? Well, discernment might sound something like, well, this feels meaningful, but I don't need to act on it immediately. This could be symbolic rather than literal. What value is this pointing me towards? What is actually within my control right now? Does this expand my capacity for grounded action? If I act on this, does it create a compassionate and collaborative experience, or will it lead me into harming myself or others? Or will it take away agency? So here is a simple internal check when you are interacting with inner experiences or outer experiences. When something arises strongly inside you, or when you're seeing a belief in the world that is really strong, you might ask the following questions. Does this increase agency or reduce it? Healthy inner guidance and healthy external guidance tends to expand choice rather than limit choice. Unhealthy pressures tend to narrow it. Another question we might ask is, does this increase connection or does it create hierarchy? Does it place you above others, below others, or in relationship with others? Hopefully, when we're thinking about healthy beliefs, we are assuming that they lead towards deeper connection and relationship with others versus using shame to place us somehow either above or below one another. Does this create grounded action? Can it be translated into something real in your life today? Does it feel spacious or does it feel urgent? So I want to note that urgency isn't always wrong, but it is worth slowing down with. Does this lead me to harm myself or others? If a belief would lead you to engage in harmful behavior, I think it is very important for us to develop an understanding of what the underlying need or boundary is. And I think we should begin seriously asking ourselves, well, why do I believe that causing harm is the only way? So what discernment is not? Well, discernment is not dismissing intuition. It is not rejecting spirituality. It is not intellectualizing everything. It is not doubting your inner world. It is also not about finding certainty. What discernment is staying in relationship with your experience and the experience of others without being dominated by it, while keeping your agency and allowing the agency of others, and acting in alignment with your values. Values ultimately should lead to less harm if we're wanting to have values that lead to a healthy relationship with others. You do not need to eliminate your inner imagery, spiritual experiences, or deep meaning making. Same with external beliefs that exist in the world. You don't need to eliminate them. You do not need to choose between spirituality and psychology, intuition and groundedness, inspiration and reality. Discernment is what allows them to coexist. It is the skill of staying human inside a meaningful inner and outer world. It is the ability to allow yourself to hold beliefs that feel important to you, but to also have discernment about whether or not you should act on them. And ultimately, it is one of the most compassionate skills we can develop for ourselves and for each other, because ultimately it can help us show up in ways that reduce suffering for ourselves and for the world. And if you are interested in going deeper in how to develop discernment, I invite you to read my book, The Divine Within, Healing Ourselves to Heal the World, or go to my website, blossomingheartwellness.com, to learn more about online courses or how to work with me, or watch more videos. Sending you deep love and appreciation for who you are.